Have you ever felt the sharp sting of betrayal from someone you trusted deeply? What happens when a fiercely independent Sigma female faces that kind of heartbreak? We're diving into the untold stories of how Sigma females navigate the intricate labyrinth of betrayal in their closest relationships and what their unique independence means for their journey back to themselves. All right, let's talk about something that we don't talk about enough: betrayal. For Sigma females, trust is a big deal. You're not out here just letting anyone into your circle. You protect your energy, your space, and you don't throw around your trust lightly. But here's the thing: sometimes, even the ones you thought had your back, those closest to you, end up being the ones to hurt you the most. Sigma females are known for their independence. We don't need validation from anyone, and we move to the beat of our own drum. But this strength, this "I've got this" mentality, can make us vulnerable. And while our independence is our power, it can also be the reason why we're betrayed, because not everyone understands it. You know that feeling when someone you love or trust betrays you. It's crushing, especially when it's from someone close to you, family, friends, even a partner. And for Sigma females, it's that much worse because for us, relationships are different. We don't just let anyone in. When we do, it's because we truly value that bond. And when it's shattered, it hits deep. So, why does it happen? Why do people close to us betray us? Let's break it down. 1. Fear of your strength. People often don't know how to handle someone as strong and independent as a Sigma. When they see you thriving on your own, it can make them uncomfortable. Your strength, your ability to stand alone, to create your own path, is something that not everyone understands. For some, it's inspiring, but for others, it's something they can't quite grasp. It challenges the way they see the world. Most people are taught that they need others to succeed, to feel validated, to be happy. But you, as a Sigma female, have this quiet yet powerful confidence that doesn't rely on anyone else, and that's what makes you stand out. But for some, this very strength can feel like a threat. They look at you and feel unsettled because they don't know how to compete with someone who doesn't need them in the way they expected. They've grown up with the idea that relationships should be built on dependency, mutual need, and expectation. When you break those norms, they don't know what to do with themselves. They start questioning their own place in your life. Maybe they've always been the one to provide support or the one to make decisions. But suddenly, you're doing all of that for yourself, and it's unsettling to them. It can feel like a loss of control for people who have grown used to playing the role of the caretaker, the supporter, or even the leader. They might start to wonder if you no longer need them at all. And that's when fear starts to creep in. Fear is a powerful emotion, and when it hits someone, it can distort their view of the world. They become paranoid. They start to think that if you don't need them, you might leave them behind. And it's not even about whether you would or not. It's about what that fear triggers inside them. This fear can evolve into jealousy. They start to feel like your strength exposes their own weaknesses. It's hard to watch someone thrive in ways you can't, and it's even harder when they do it without you. It makes them question their own self-worth. They wonder if they're not enough, or if their own dependence on others has made them weak. Instead of respecting your independence, they start to see it as a reminder of their own limitations. This kind of insecurity can breed resentment. If they're threatened by your self-sufficiency, they might begin to lash out, either subtly or overtly. They might say things to bring you down, to try to make you feel like you can't do it alone. Or they might manipulate situations to make you feel like you're out of line for not needing them. This resentment, whether consciously or unconsciously, leads to betrayal. They start to push you away or distance themselves from you, all because they can't handle seeing someone be as strong and self-sufficient as you are. The more they try to tear you down, the more they reveal their own insecurities. But that's not your burden to carry. It's theirs. Your strength doesn't make you less human. It doesn't make you less worthy of love and respect. If anything, it should be a source of admiration. But not everyone will see it that way. And that's okay. You're not here to make everyone comfortable with your power. You're here to live authentically, on your own terms. The ones who can't handle your strength weren't meant to be a part of your journey anyway. They will either rise to meet you or fall away. And as painful as that can be, it's part of the growth. It's part of embracing your strength fully, even if it means facing betrayal along the way. Quick side note, if you're relating to this, give this video a thumbs up. It helps a lot. And don't forget to leave a comment sharing your experience with this. Let's move on to the next point. 2. Jealousy of your freedom. The freedom Sigma females have is powerful. It's something that makes us stand out from the crowd. We don't live by anyone else's rules, and we don't follow the path that society has laid out for us. We do things our own way. For many people, that's something they admire, something they look up to. But for others, that freedom isn't something they respect or want to emulate. It's something they envy. The ability to move through life without constantly checking in with others, without feeling the need to explain every decision, is something many people wish they could do. They see your free-spirited approach and feel threatened by it. For them, it's a reminder of everything they feel they're missing: independence, confidence, and the courage to take control of their own life. But instead of acknowledging your freedom as something powerful, they begin to see it as something they lack. And when they feel that lack within themselves, it breeds jealousy. The jealousy doesn't come from a place of malice at first. It's more of an internal struggle that they don't know how to process. They want to be like you, to experience that kind of freedom, but they've been taught to follow the rules. They've been conditioned to seek approval, to conform, and to play by the book. They didn't learn how to step outside those boundaries and carve their own path. Watching you do it so effortlessly exposes their own limitations. Instead of feeling inspired, they feel small. They start to wish they could live the way you do, without caring about what anyone thinks. But they can't. They're too afraid. And that's when jealousy takes root. It's not about you doing anything wrong. You're not hurting anyone by living your life the way you choose. But to them, it's a reminder of how stuck they feel in their own life. They start to question why they can't just do what you're doing, and why they let fear dictate their choices. That's when they begin to project their frustrations onto you. They may not consciously realize it, but they start to undermine your freedom. They may try to make you feel guilty for living on your own terms, as if you're somehow being selfish or reckless. They might criticize your choices, point out the risks, or try to convince you that you're being irresponsible, but at the core of it, their criticism comes from their own fear, their own inability to break free from the expectations placed on them. They try to pull you down, not because they think you're doing something wrong, but because they wish they had the courage to do the same. It's easier to bring you down to their level than to face the discomfort of change themselves. It's a lot easier to criticize someone who's free than it is to break free yourself. In the end, it's not about you, it's about them. They can't handle the fact that you're living in a way they can only dream of. They may not understand that your freedom is a choice you've made, not something you were born with. They may see it as an unattainable ideal and resent you for having it, even if you've had to fight for it every step of the way. But don't let their jealousy stop you. Your freedom is your strength, and no one has the right to take that away from you. If they can't handle it, that's their problem, not yours. Before we continue, if this resonates with you, hit that subscribe button. Your support means the world. Now, let's dive into the next reason. 3. Misunderstanding your independence. Some people confuse independence with isolation. They don't understand that being independent doesn't mean you want to be alone or that you're pushing people away. Instead, they misinterpret it as something cold or distant. For a Sigma female, independence is about knowing who you are, trusting yourself, and not needing constant validation from others. You don't seek approval because you've already found your own sense of worth. You don't need anyone to tell you that you're good enough, capable enough, or worthy enough. But for many people, especially those who rely heavily on external validation, this can be confusing. They don't know how to handle someone who isn't constantly seeking reassurance, someone who doesn't need to be praised or celebrated every time they achieve something. To them, your lack of need for approval looks like you don't care, or worse, like you're pushing them away. The truth is, you don't need validation, but that doesn't mean you don't appreciate genuine connection. It doesn't mean you don't value the people who are close to you. It just means that your self-worth isn't tied to anyone else's opinion of you. For someone who depends on external validation, this can be tough to understand. They might see your independence as emotional distance. They might think you're being too cold or too hard to reach because you don't react to their praise or need for attention the way they expect you to. Instead of seeing your strength, they see a barrier. They feel like they can't get close to you or that you're somehow shutting them out. In reality, you're just living on your own terms. You're not keeping them at arm's length. You're just not compromising your sense of self in the process. But when they misinterpret this as emotional unavailability, it can hurt them. They feel rejected, and when that feeling builds up, it can lead to confusion and frustration. They might start to question why you don't need them in the way they want you to. And that's when the distance between you grows. It's a misunderstanding that can snowball. The more they feel like you're unapproachable or distant, the more they may pull away from you, thinking it's the only way to protect themselves from the emotional wall they think you've built. The problem is, it's not a wall, it's simply your boundary. Your sense of self doesn't require anyone else's constant presence, but to someone who's used to being needed, that boundary can feel like rejection. It can feel like they're not enough for you, even though that's not true. And when they feel hurt, they start to question everything about your relationship. They begin to believe that you're shutting them out or that you don't care. But the truth is, you value connection just as much as they do. It's just that your connection comes from a place of self-sufficiency, not neediness. When they don't understand that, it can lead to feelings of betrayal. They start to distance themselves from you because they feel like you've already distanced yourself. They interpret your independence as rejection. This misunderstanding isn't your fault. It's a reflection of their own insecurities. But when they start pulling away, it's painful, because as much as you value your independence, you also value the meaningful relationships you've built. You just don't need to rely on anyone else to feel whole. And if someone can't understand that, it can lead to the painful reality of betrayal when it was never really about you at all. 4. Insecurity. Not everyone is as secure in themselves as you are. As a Sigma female, you've developed a strong sense of self, and that confidence shines through in everything you do. You know who you are, and you're not looking for someone else to validate your worth. But for many people, especially those close to you, that kind of confidence can be unsettling. They might feel like they're not enough because you don't rely on them to feel complete. To them, your self-sufficiency can feel like a subtle rejection, as if they're not important enough to be your source of emotional fulfillment. This can trigger feelings of insecurity in them, making them question their place in your life. They might start to wonder if they're lacking in some way, if they're not giving you what you need, or if they're just not enough to keep you around. These feelings of inadequacy can be difficult to cope with, and some people, rather than confronting their insecurities, act out in ways that hurt others. For those who are already struggling with their self-esteem, the fact that you don't need their constant reassurance can be a tough pill to swallow. They may see your strength as a reminder of their own weaknesses, and instead of admiring your ability to stand on your own, they start to feel small in comparison. This insecurity can manifest in many ways. They might become passive-aggressive, making comments that undermine your confidence or making you feel like you should be more dependent on them. Or they might pull away entirely, thinking that if you don't need them emotionally, you don't need them at all. The worst part is that this insecurity often leads to betrayal. Instead of talking about their feelings or confronting their own inadequacies, they project them onto you. They might betray your trust in a way that feels like a personal attack. It's not because you've done anything wrong. It's because their insecurities have festered to the point where they can't handle the reality of your independence. To them, your self-sufficiency is a threat, not a strength. So they lash out in the only way they know how, by attempting to pull you down to their level. This isn't something you did. It's their own unresolved issues. They might feel like they're not good enough for you, and that fear of not measuring up can make them do things that hurt you. They may say things to make you doubt yourself or try to manipulate situations to make you feel guilty for being so independent. They might even create drama to get attention, just to feel like they matter to you. But no matter how they act, it's not about you. It's about their own inner struggle with their self-worth. Your independence is a reflection of your confidence, not a comment on their value. If they can't understand that, it's on them, not you. What's most important is that you don't let their insecurities become your burden. If they can't handle your independence, that's something they'll need to work through on their own. But their insecurity doesn't make you less of a person or less deserving of trust and respect. Keep standing strong in who you are, because your worth is not defined by anyone else's ability to accept it. If you're feeling this, make sure you like and comment below. I love reading how you handle these things. Now, let's talk about insecurity. 5. Projection of their own weaknesses. Some people project their own weaknesses onto you. They see your strength, your ability to handle challenges, and your unwavering self-confidence, and instead of feeling inspired by it, they feel threatened by it. To them, your success and composure are a reminder of everything they feel they're lacking. It's easy for someone who's struggling with their own insecurities to view your strength as a reflection of their own inadequacies. Instead of admiring your resilience, they begin to feel small in comparison. They start to question why they can't be as strong, as composed, or as self-sufficient as you are. What they fail to realize is that your strength doesn't diminish theirs. Your confidence doesn't take away from their value. But because they haven't yet learned to accept their own weaknesses, they project them onto you. When someone feels like they're constantly falling short, they begin to view those around them, especially those who seem to have it all together, as reminders of their own struggles. Your calm, your independence, your ability to thrive without leaning on others can be a trigger for them, sparking resentment. They don't want to see you as someone who's figured it all out, because it makes them feel like they're drowning in their own mess. It's not about you. It's about how they perceive their own life in comparison to yours. This feeling of inadequacy can be overwhelming, and instead of confronting their own feelings, they might lash out in unhealthy ways. They might try to undermine your success, belittle your achievements, or make you feel like you're not as impressive as you really are. In some cases, this projection of their own weaknesses leads to betrayal. When they can't handle the fact that you seem to have everything together while they struggle to stay afloat, they may try to bring you down to their level. They may do this consciously or unconsciously, but the end result is often the same. They hurt you. They might betray your trust, spread lies, or sabotage your success, all because they want to feel like they've leveled the playing field. Instead of working on their own self-growth, they focus on tearing you down to make themselves feel better about where they are. This kind of behavior stems from a place of deep insecurity. They're not mad at you for being strong or self-sufficient. They're mad at themselves for not being able to measure up. And in the absence of self-awareness, they lash out, projecting their own shortcomings onto you. They think that if they can somehow make you feel like you're not as perfect as you appear, it will alleviate their own pain. But the truth is, your strength is not something to feel threatened by. It's something to be celebrated. You've worked hard to get to where you are, and you've earned the right to be confident in who you are. The people who can't handle that need to work through their own struggles, not drag you into their personal battle. Your journey is yours, and their inability to accept that doesn't diminish your worth. You can't let their projections define you. Stay true to yourself, because the only weakness in this situation is their inability to confront their own issues. Keep rising above it all, because your strength is your superpower, and it's not for anyone to take away. 6. Toxic expectations. There's often this idea that the closer you are to someone, the more you're supposed to sacrifice for them. It's a concept that many people carry with them, and they apply it to their relationships, believing that love and closeness mean giving up pieces of yourself for the other person. But for Sigma females, That's not how it works. Your value comes from your authenticity and independence, and you don't believe in losing yourself just to meet someone else's expectations. You don't think that love should mean compromise at the cost of your own identity, but some people in your life, whether family, friends, or partners, expect you to fit into a mold they've created for you. They see you as someone they can shape, someone who should bend to their idea of what a relationship should look like. When you don't conform to their expectations, they feel hurt. They feel like you're not doing enough for them, or that you're pulling away. This can be especially hard for those who think that closeness means a total merger of lives and identities. To them, if you're not sacrificing parts of yourself, you're somehow not fully invested in the relationship. This idea is toxic because it places the burden of someone else's vision of who you should be on your shoulders. It's like they expect you to become someone you're not to make them feel more comfortable, but you don't operate that way. You know that real connection comes from people accepting you for who you truly are, not for who they want you to be. When you don't conform to these toxic expectations, some people in your life might feel betrayed. They'll take your refusal to sacrifice pieces of your identity as a sign that you don't care about them or that you're not committed to the relationship. They'll feel like you've let them down because you've chosen yourself over them, but the reality is you've done nothing wrong. You're simply standing firm in your values and refusing to lose yourself in the name of someone else's comfort. That's not betrayal, it's self-respect. Unfortunately, some people can't see it that way. They might lash out or try to make you feel guilty for not giving in to their demands. They might say things like, "If you really cared about me, you'd do this for me," or "Why aren't you doing more?" But all they're doing is projecting their own expectations onto you. They've created a false narrative that closeness means self-sacrifice, and when you don't follow that script, they feel hurt. What they don't understand is that your independence doesn't diminish your love or loyalty. It just means you're not willing to lose yourself in the process. They might not be able to see that your strength in maintaining your identity is actually a reflection of how deeply you value the relationship. The truth is, love isn't about losing yourself for someone else. It's about respecting each other's individuality while still being there for one another. So when someone feels betrayed because you won't conform to their vision, it's not your fault. You're not obligated to mold yourself to their standards. Your worth isn't measured by how much you're willing to give up. If they can't understand that, it's on them, not you. Keep standing strong in your authenticity, because anyone who truly loves you will respect your boundaries and appreciate the person you are. If this sounds familiar, don't forget to subscribe and share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Now, on to the next reason. 7. Emotional manipulation. It's hard to admit, but some people close to you might try to manipulate your emotions to get what they want. This is a painful reality that many Sigma females face. They may be people you love, people you trust, or people you've let into your life with good intentions. But when someone feels threatened by your success or your independence, they might try to emotionally control you to keep you close. The thing is, emotional manipulation is often disguised as concern or love, making it even harder to spot. These people might try to make you feel guilty for succeeding without them, as if your achievements are somehow a reflection of their failure to keep up. They might subtly guilt-trip you, making you believe that your success is putting a strain on the relationship, or that you owe them something in return for their support. What they're really doing, though, is trying to control your emotions to manipulate your actions. They don't want to see you succeed without them. The idea that you can thrive independently without relying on them or needing their approval shakes their sense of control. They might use phrases like, "I'm happy for you, but," or "You're changing, and I don't know how to handle it." The goal isn't to genuinely support you. It's to make you feel like you need them in order to succeed or maintain the relationship. They'll try to pull you down emotionally by making you doubt yourself, your choices, or your worth. They might even start making you feel responsible for their emotions, as if it's your job to keep them happy or secure. When they sense that you're growing and evolving, They'll make you feel like your growth is something you should apologize for, as if you're leaving them behind or abandoning them. The truth is, this behavior is manipulation, and it's a betrayal of the trust you've given them. It's one thing to ask for support in a healthy relationship, but it's another to use guilt, fear, or emotional pressure to keep someone in a position of emotional dependence. Sigma females by nature don't tolerate this. You're independent, and you know that your success is your own to define. You won't allow anyone to make you feel like you need to shrink yourself to make them feel comfortable. Emotional manipulation is a form of control, and it's something you won't stand for. It's not about being mean or harsh. It's about setting boundaries and protecting your peace. When someone tries to emotionally manipulate you, they're not just attacking your confidence, they're attacking your sense of self-worth. They want you to believe that you need them in order to be successful, that you can't achieve your dreams without their approval. But that's a lie. You know that your strength comes from within, and no one has the right to make you feel guilty for embracing that strength. It doesn't matter how close they are to you. Betrayal is betrayal, whether it comes from a family member, a friend, or someone you've trusted. And as a Sigma female, you know that you won't let anyone manipulate your emotions for their own benefit. Your emotional independence is a reflection of your self-respect, and you'll never compromise that for anyone. When someone tries to pull you down emotionally, it's their weakness, not yours. You rise above it because you know that the people who truly care for you will support you without trying to control you. Emotional manipulation might be hard to spot, but once you see it for what it is, you'll know that it's time to let go. You're not here to play emotional games. You're here to grow, succeed, and thrive on your own terms. 8. Lack of boundaries. Sometimes, the betrayal comes from a place of disrespect for your boundaries. As a Sigma female, you set clear boundaries because you know exactly what you will and won't tolerate. You've learned the hard way that protecting your emotional space is vital to maintaining your peace and your sense of self. Your boundaries are a reflection of your self-respect and your need for personal space, time, and energy. They aren't just rules for others. They're a way to ensure you stay grounded in who you are. But what happens when those closest to you cross those lines? Whether it's intentional or not, when someone violates your boundaries, it can feel like a deep betrayal. It's not just the act of crossing a line that hurts, it's the fact that they ignored or disrespected something you hold sacred. When people close to you disregard your boundaries, it sends a message that they don't fully value or respect you. It might be something as simple as repeatedly interrupting your time, demanding your attention when you've asked for space, or undermining your decisions and personal choices. It could be more serious, like emotional manipulation, trying to guilt you into something you've already said no to, or crossing physical boundaries without your consent. But whatever it is, it cuts deep because it's a clear violation of trust. As a Sigma female, you know how important it is to protect your boundaries. You don't let anyone dictate your choices or invade your space without your permission, but when someone close to you ignores or disrespects those boundaries, it can leave you feeling betrayed. After all, you've made it clear what you're willing to accept. You've communicated your needs, and yet they continue to cross lines. This kind of behavior shows a lack of regard for you as an individual and for the relationship you've worked hard to build. It's easy for someone to take your boundaries for granted, especially if they feel entitled to your time, energy, or emotions. But that entitlement isn't healthy. It's a sign of disrespect. Whether they do it out of selfishness or simply because they don't understand your need for space, crossing boundaries is always a violation of trust. When someone you care about breaks those boundaries, it's not just a minor issue, it's a deep cut to the heart of the relationship. The hardest part is that once trust is broken in this way, it's incredibly difficult to repair. Boundaries are the foundation of a healthy relationship. When they're respected, trust and mutual understanding can flourish. But when those boundaries are ignored, it creates an emotional distance that's hard to bridge. As a Sigma female, you're not one to easily forgive those who disrespect your boundaries, especially when it comes from someone close to you. You understand that forgiveness doesn't mean letting go of your standards or lowering your expectations. It's not about giving them a free pass. It's about recognizing that you deserve respect, and anyone who can't provide that respect isn't someone you can keep in your life without consequences. The betrayal of your boundaries is not something you can ignore. It's a clear signal that the relationship needs to change, and you need to decide whether it's worth saving. Your boundaries are non-negotiable, and anyone who truly cares for you will understand and honor them. If they can't, that's a sign that they don't fully value you as a person. And that's something you won't stand for. You'll walk away if necessary, because your peace and your self-respect are worth far more than any relationship that refuses to honor your boundaries. Let me hit you with this powerful truth. Betrayal is never about you. It's about them. It's about their insecurities, their need for control, or their fear of your power. The truth is, when someone betrays you, it reflects their own weakness, not your worth. Think about it for a second. If you were someone who didn't have any value, if you weren't a force to be reckoned with, they wouldn't feel threatened enough to betray you in the first place. Betrayal comes from a place of fear. People act out because they don't know how to handle someone who is independent, who doesn't need constant validation, and who is unapologetically strong. They feel vulnerable because they can't control your actions, your success, or your journey. They might try to tear you down to make themselves feel better, but here's the thing. Sigma females don't stay down for long. You're built for this. Your resilience is unmatched. Every time someone tries to break you, it's just a test of your strength. And every single time, you rise. You don't crumble when life gets tough. You get up, dust yourself off, and keep moving forward, because you know that your power doesn't come from anyone else. It comes from within you. You are not defined by what others do to you. You are defined by how you respond. And you rise. You always rise. Think of it like this. Every time someone tries to bring you down, it's just another opportunity for you to prove how strong you are. Every time they try to hurt you, it's just another chance for you to show the world that you can't be broken. The thing is, they don't understand that you're not built like they are. You don't need anyone to hold you up. You don't need their approval, their validation, or their support. You are your own foundation, and that's what makes you unstoppable. You're a force to be reckoned with, and nobody can break you, not even betrayal. Betrayal might hurt, but it's never going to keep you down for long. So here's what we know. Sigma females will face betrayal. It's inevitable, but we don't let it define us. We don't let it hold us back. We rise stronger, more focused, and more determined than ever. We don't need anyone else to validate us, and that's exactly why betrayal hits the hardest. It's because the ones who betray us thought they could control us, thought they could manipulate our actions, but they couldn't. They couldn't understand that we don't need them in the way they expected us to. And in the end, that's their weakness, not ours. The betrayal isn't a reflection of who we are. It's a reflection of their inability to handle our strength, our independence, and our resilience. And we don't let it define us. We keep doing us. We keep rising. And we never let anyone make us feel small for being who we are. Keep being unapologetically you. Keep showing up as the strong, independent, and unstoppable force that you are. Don't let anyone dim your light. Drop a comment below and share your experiences. I'd love to hear how you've navigated betrayal in your own life. And don't forget to hit the next video for more on personal growth and how to keep leveling up. Because Sigma females, we don't stop growing. Ever. We keep leveling up. We keep evolving. We keep thriving. And nothing can ever stop us.